Hi, I'm Josh Ellsworth with Stahl's CAD-CUT Direct, and welcome to our video tutorial where I'll show you how to create a two-color design for an athletic team uniform. In this tutorial, I'll show you two ways to design for two-color artwork, also to cut, weed, and heat apply onto the garment. So the first method is trapping. We'll use that on the front of this jersey. And the next method is the complete layering process. We're going to use that on the back of this jersey. So we'll do all of our design in CorelDRAW, output to the vinyl cutter of choice, which in this case is a Roland GX24, but you can use whatever brand vinyl cutter that you have, and heat apply it down to the garment. All of this is going to be done with our best-selling material, thermofilm. So let's get to the design. We'll be completing the design process today in CorelDRAW Graphics Suite. You can also use Adobe Illustrator, FlexiSign, free design software, CADWorksLive.com, any vector-based graphics program that you use to output to your vinyl cutter. I've already pre-set up and typed out a few name and number combos, one for the front of the jersey, which would be the Bulls number 20, and the back of the jersey with the player's name, Jackson number 20. Now I've simply just typed these in and selected the font. We'll take it from there. First thing I want to do is let me separate these a little bit, and let's start with the Bulls number 20 for the front design. Now I'm going to show you the trapping method. Zoom in. First thing you want to do after you've set up and selected your font is you want to select both pieces of your text and you want to convert it to curves. This is so it's not reading as a font any longer but an object. So convert to curves. In some softwares that setting might be convert to polyline. Now I'll select my name. If I want this to be an 8-inch name across the front of the jersey, I can type in 8 inches into Corel. If I want to go with a 4-inch number, type in a 4-inch tall number. If I want to center these, basically select them both, go to Arrange, Align and Distribute, and align centers vertically. So that way I know my number 20 is perfectly centered underneath the Bulls design. After I've set it up how I want, converted it to curves, I'm going to grab these two items and I'm going to group them together, arrange and group. Now I'm ready to add my outline. In order to add an outline to this for my background layer, I go to Effects, Contour. Pulls a menu up on the side of the screen. At this point, I can select whether I want to contour to the inside or the outside. For the trapping method, I'm actually going to have to do both, but I'm going to show you the contour to the outside first, and then you type in the decimal number for how many fractions of an inch. So if I want a quarter of an inch, 0.25, you can set it up for whatever you want. So I'm going to type in 0.15 for the outside offset. Click Apply. Let me change the color here so you can see what's happening. So you can see the outline here. At that point, this is still all reading as one object. So what I'd like to do is break these apart so it's reading as separate layers. So in order to do that, I select it all, go up to Arrange, Break Apart. So now I can click and drag away this foreground layer to show you that's two complete separate layers. See that? I'm going to hit Control-Z to take it back to its original form. Because with the trapping method, I actually need to create a contour to the inside as well. So I'll go back over into my contour menu, having my foreground only selected at this point. Click on Inside. And you're not going to see this. This is simply hidden behind the foreground layer. So I'm just going to do a very small contour offset. So we'll do something like 0.08. Click Apply. Now, let me take you into a different view. First, let me break these apart, arrange and break those two apart. Now, let's take you into the wireframe view. If I zoom in, what you see now is 3 different sets of cut lines. You actually see the most inside set of cut lines and the most outside set will be your background layer, that in this case we're going to cut out of black material. And then the middle set of cut lines, in this case, will be my red material. So these are all set up. What I need to do is select my inside set of cut lines, and then I'll click and drag those away. So you see now I have two complete different sets of cut lines. Let's make this less confusing, and let me add a page to the bottom here. And let's name this page black. Let's name this first page red. Set it up as the color names. That's the way it's easy to remember. So if black is going to be my background layer, what I want to do is select my background set of cut lines. I'm going to right click and cut. Hit Control V to paste it over to my black page. So this page is set up to send over to my black material once I load that into the cutter. That's the foreground design using the trapping method. You'll start to understand that more when we weed and heat apply it and the advantages for that. Let me zoom in on my background design, and let's set that up really quickly for the back of the jersey. So of course I want to convert to curves, size appropriately, do a 10-inch name on the back. On the back, we'll do an 8-inch number. Make sure these are centered. Group them together. Now for the standard layering method, I simply need an outside offset. Click Apply. Now you'll see here that there's some extra weed areas in here where these have set up. So if I want to eliminate those, I want to break the contour group apart. I'll show you how to eliminate those shortly. Let me take the background layer here, cut it, Control V to paste it over onto the black page. At that point, I can break that whole piece apart. I can go in and delete these little areas that I don't want, if I don't want the shirt to show through in those areas. So if I don't want the holes in the design, makes it kind of easier to weed that way. So now if I zoom out, you'll see I have my standard full background piece for the black material for the back of my jersey, and then the front piece for the trapping method. For the red, I have both of the foreground layers ready to send over to the cutter. At this point, what you want to do is export. Take these over to your cutting software that drives your cutter. So for the roll and cutter, I'm going to export them as an EPS and then import them into the Roll and Cut Studio software. And that's where we'll pick it up once I have it over in the actual software. Since we'll be outputting to the Roland GX24 vinyl cutter, we'll be using the Roll and Cut Studio driver program that comes with that cutter. I've already exported the designs from Corel as EPS files. Now I need to import them into the Roll and Cut Studio. So go to File, Import, bring in the red layer, open up a separate Cut Studio window, import the black layer. At this point, if I want to bring these closer together, I can select them, break them apart in this program, or you could have done this in Corel. I'm going to use the arrow key to drop it down closer. You need to mirror both of these sets of designs before outputting to the cutter. So to do that, go to Object and Mirror, or you could have completed that in Corel as well. But now these are set up, ready to send to the corresponding color of material for the background and foreground layer. So we'll cut these, and then I'll see you again at the weeding process and explain to you what's happening there.